He had a power where you could go back in time, and what he used it for was legendary. What's that one thing you'll do if you should get that power? The movie opens with Tim's father calling him over because he has something important to tell him. He says, "After hearing this, you might feel a little strange and surprised, but it's true. All the men in our family have the ability to time travel. We can go back into the past and fix our future." Tim doesn't believe him at first, but his father insists it's true and explains how it works. You have to go into a dark place, clench your fists, and think about the moment you want to return to. Tim laughs it off, thinking it's a joke, but he decides to test it anyway. He goes into a closet, clenches his fists, and suddenly finds himself back on New Year's Eve. When he steps out of the closet, he realizes his clothes have changed. He's completely shocked. He goes downstairs to the party and does all the things he had previously missed. Then he returns to the closet, clenches his fists again, and comes back to the present. Afterward, he talks to his father, who tells him that even his mother doesn't know about this ability. His father warns him, "You must use time travel only to make your life better, not for fame or selfish gain. If you do, you'll never truly be happy. Use this gift only to fill your life with happiness." But all this nuthead could think of is women. How to get many as possible in order to be happy in life. One day, his sister Kit Kat's beautiful friend Charlotte comes to stay at their house for a month. Tim is immediately excited and starts looking for an opportunity to impress her. One afternoon, Charlotte and Kit Kat are sunbathing outside, and Tim is there too. Charlotte calls him over and asks, "Can you put some sunscreen on me?" Seeing a perfect opportunity, Tim rushes over, but he accidentally squeezes out too much sunscreen and makes a mess. Embarrassed, he quickly runs back inside. Time travels to that same moment and tries again. This time, when Charlotte calls him, he walks over calmly like a perfect gentleman and applies the sunscreen smoothly. Charlotte seems impressed, as if it's completely natural for him. The summer passes beautifully. They all enjoy their vacation together, spending wonderful time as friends. Tim becomes so lost in Charlotte that he almost forgets about time travel altogether. One day, Charlotte's father comes to take her home. At breakfast, he announces that he's there to pick her up. Tim feels heartbroken because she's leaving the next day. Before she goes, he wants to confess his feelings. That night, Tim goes to her room while she's packing. When she sees him, she seems to know he's about to say what she's been waiting to hear. Tim confesses his love, but Charlotte tells him, "You're too late. You should have told me earlier. We could have made this summer even more beautiful." So Tim left the room without saying a word to her, then uses his power to go back in time, thinking he could cheat nature. He knocks on Charlotte's door again. This time, he confesses his love much earlier. But Charlotte tells him, "You should tell me this on my last night here. That way, we can spend a summer getting to know each other first." That's when Tim realizes something important. Charlotte was never truly going to fall for him. Time travel can't change someone's heart, so he lets go of his first love. The next day, Charlotte leaves. Tim decides to move to London to become a lawyer. His uncle gives him some money and advises him to spend it wisely. Tim says goodbye to everyone and leaves for London to complete his legal training. In London, he moves in with his father's friend Harry, a playwright who's always in a bad mood. Harry welcomes him and shows him to his room. Tim is surprised to see that Harry has pictures of many girls hanging on the walls, including one of his daughter. The next day, Tim starts his legal training and meets a colleague named Rory. 6 months pass, but Tim is still searching for a girlfriend. One night, he goes with his friend Jay to a restaurant where they play a blind dating game in a dark room. They're standing there when Jay's girlfriend arrives and takes him away, leaving Tim alone. Soon, a girl named Mary appears from the dark room. Tim flirts with her, and when they step outside into the light, they see each other properly for the first time. Wait. She's so pretty. I hope he doesn't mess this up. Mary gives him her phone number, and they clearly like each other. Tim wants to keep talking, but her friend arrives and pulls her away. As she leaves, Mary gives Tim a look that makes it impossible for him to forget her. After that, Tim happily returns home. When he gets there, he sees Harry in a terrible mood. That night was the opening of Harry's new play. The audience had been enjoying it, but one of the actors forgot his lines, and the whole performance fell apart. Seeing Uncle Harry so upset, Tim decides to help him by using time travel. He goes back and takes Harry to the theater. At first, he approaches the actor he thinks forgot his lines and tells him to make sure he remembers them, but then he realizes he has the wrong person. So Tim time travels again, finds a correct actor, and discreetly helps him with the dialogue during the performance. Thanks to Tim, Harry's play becomes a success. After this, Tim tries to call Mary, but her phone number has disappeared from his phone. He panics and rushes back to the same restaurant where they first met. When he asks about Mary, he realizes something important. Because he time traveled to help Harry, he erased the evening when he originally met Mary. I just said he shouldn't mess the F up. Gosh, this guy's so dumb. That meeting never happened. Harry is happy, but Tim feels heartbroken thinking about Mary. Then he remembers that Mary once mentioned a model she really admired. The next day, Tim goes to that model's exhibition. After waiting for a while, he finally spots Mary there. When he approaches her, she doesn't recognize him. Tim understands that because of the time travel, she has no memory of him. He starts talking to her and asks if they can spend some time together. Mary hesitates at first, unsure about him. After thinking for a bit, then with some encouragement from a friend, she finally agrees. A little later, the three of them go to a coffee shop. Mary introduces Tim to one of her friends, and they all sit down for coffee. During the conversation, Tim learns that Mary now has a boyfriend named Rupert. He can't believe it. When he asks how they met, they tell him it was at a party. Tim asks for the details of that party. Mary grows suspicious, wondering if he's spying on her, but her friend casually gives him the time and address. Tim excuses himself to go to the bathroom. Instead, he time travels back to the night of that party before Mary meets Rupert. He arrives earlier than Rupert does. Seeing Mary alone, he approaches her and starts complimenting her. She's clearly flattered. He then invites her to dinner, and she agrees. Tim leads her away from the party. Before she ever meets Rupert, they spend more and more time together, and gradually Mary begins to fall for him. Wanting to spend even more time with him, she invites him to walk her home. At her place, they grow very close and end up on a bed together. Afterward, Tim feels that because it was his first time, he didn't perform very well. So he quickly time travels back to that same moment, tries again, this time more confidently. Mary is much happier with how things go, and even playfully compliments him afterward. After that night, Tim and Mary fall deeply in love and officially start a relationship. They move in together and begin spending beautiful moments side by side. A few days later, Mary finds out that her parents are coming to visit. She panics and quickly tells Tim, asking him to leave the apartment. Just as Tim is about to head out, the doorbell rings. He freezes. Now he can't leave. Mary opens the door, and her parents arrive. They don't yet know that Tim and Mary are living together. They only know that Tim is her boyfriend. However, after talking with Tim, they end up really liking him. That night, Tim stays over. The next evening, Tim goes to a party where he unexpectedly sees Charlotte. He goes over to talk to her. After a brief conversation, she introduces him to a friend, referring to her as her girlfriend. Tim assumes they're in a relationship, but he completely misreads the situation and awkwardly messes things up. Embarrassed, Tim goes back in time and decides with his friend that he simply won't meet Charlotte at all. But as he's leaving, Charlotte spots him anyway. They start talking again, and this time she invites him to dinner. During dinner, she admits that she now likes him and shouldn't have rejected him before. She asks him to walk her home and invites him inside, but Tim chooses not to go in. Instead, he leaves, realizing just how much he truly loves Mary. He goes home and proposes to Mary. She happily agrees to marry him. Tim then takes her to meet his family. Mary blends in easily with his mother, and Kit Kat Catherine is delighted to meet her as well. At dinner that night, Tim announces that Mary is pregnant and that they'll be getting married soon. Everyone is thrilled. They begin planning the wedding. On the big day, Mary chooses to play the same song that Tim and his father love. Despite heavy rain and a storm, their wedding is full of laughter and joy. However, the best men give terrible speeches. So Tim secretly time travels and asks them to redo their speeches properly. They try again and do better, but Tim still isn't satisfied. So he time travels once more and improves things until the speeches are perfect and everyone enjoys them. Later, Tim and Mary have a daughter and name her Posy. The entire family is overjoyed with the arrival of the little one. They eventually move into a new home together. Tim is now so happy with his life that he hardly feels the need to time travel anymore. At Posy's first birthday party, the whole family gathers, except for Catherine. Soon, Catherine's boyfriend arrives and tells Tim that they had a fight. Catherine had been drinking, stormed off in her car, then got into an accident. Tim and Mary rush to the hospital. Seeing Catherine in pain breaks Tim's heart, so he goes back in time, drives a car himself, and prevents the accident from happening. Afterward, Tim and Mary worry about Catherine's future. She's heartbroken after her breakup and emotionally devastated. Wanting to help her, Tim finally reveals the truth about his time travel ability. He takes her back to a New Year's Eve party, the night she first met the man who would later hurt her. This time, Catherine slaps him and avoids getting involved with him. Then Tim and Catherine return to the present. Tim suggests that she move in with his friend Jay for support. But when Tim returns home happily, he discovers something shocking. Because he changed the past again, his daughter Posy no longer exists. In her place is a baby boy, someone Tim has never known before. After this, Tim talks to his father about what happened. His father explains that the reason his daughter turned into a boy is because Tim traveled back to a time before his child was conceived. If he keeps doing that, the child will change every single time. Even though it breaks his heart, Tim makes a difficult decision. He goes back to the past and allows Catherine's accident to happen again so that he can get his daughter Posey back. He returns to the moment when he and Mary first went to visit Catherine in the hospital. This time, instead of preventing the accident, Tim and Mary encourage Catherine to forget that toxic boyfriend and move forward with her life, possibly with Jay. Catherine eventually agrees. Time passes, and Tim and Mary have another child. One day, they receive devastating news. Tim's father, James, has cancer. Tim rushes to him and says he'll go back in time and fix it. But his father gently tells him that some things in life simply cannot be changed. Then James shares one final secret, something even more important. He explains that if Tim truly wants to be happy with his gift, he should live each day twice. The first time, he should live it like a normal person, dealing with stress, boredom, and everyday struggles without using time travel. Then, at the end of the day, he should go back and live that same day again, this time noticing the small joys and beauty he missed the first time. Tim follows his father's advice. He begins living each day more mindfully, appreciating the little things around him. His life becomes fuller and happier. Eventually, Tim learns that his father has passed away. Before the funeral, he travels back one last time to see him. His father already knows why Tim has come. They spend precious time together, talking and enjoying each other's company. After that, Tim returns to the present. From time to time, whenever he misses him, Tim goes back to visit his father again. But one day, Mary tells Tim that she wants another baby. For Tim, this is a heartbreaking decision. If they have another child, he won't be able to travel back to a time before that child's birth because it could change the baby entirely. That would mean he could never visit his father again. Still, he can't break Mary's heart. He agrees. Before the new baby is born, Tim goes back to see his father one final time. He tells him this will be their last meeting. His father takes him back even further to Tim's childhood. Together, they relive a simple, beautiful day from when Tim was a little boy. They spend one last perfect day together. After that, Tim chooses to live fully in the present. He stops using time travel altogether. Instead, he began cheering every moment, making life more easier and exciting. Then here, the movie comes to an end.